Hello, ladies and gentlemen. Welcome back to the 2023 MEC Valorant Fall Season. Still myself, Ashcon, and the wonderful Tucker. And we're coming back to you live with Cornell University versus Cleveland State. I'm excited to see these two, what they got in store. We're coming off of the tail end of a quick 2-0. Tucker, what do you think of that previous series? What do you think about going into this one?
The previous series was a nail biter at times. Overall, it was 2-0 in Ohio Northern State, the last week's Fall Clash champions. But now we have another set of Fall Clash champions going at it. This is actually a lower group rematch of the grand finals, Cleveland State University versus Cornell College. If you were not there for last weekend's tournament in Des Moines, Cleveland State won the lower group grand finals 2-0 with 13-9 being map 1 and 14-12 being map 2. And it was the same two teams competing, Cleveland State, Cornell College. So we might just get a similar result, or who knows, Cornell might just flip the script and go up over Cleveland State. We've got a little bit of a rivalry going on, so I am all for whatever happens.
And once again, folks, a quick reminder that this is the round robin stage of the league. When we're coming into the fall season, we're moving from round robin. After that phase is over onto the main championship bracket. And that's going to be best of 3 double elimination, while these series in round robin are also best of 3. Everyone playing everyone else, of course. So everything that goes on here is going to determine the seeding for far into the future. Just a quick reminder for those of you who are only just tuning in. And we're going on to the map of Haven. And we got to see a little bit of that in our previous series as well. But the compositions in that prior series were pretty interesting, Starcoin. We saw Reyna and Neon on the side of ONU, which enabled them to do some really fast hits. So I'm curious to see what these two teams are going to bring to the table, if they're going to stick to the meta or if they're going to give us a curveball the way that Ohio Northern did.
Oh, for sure. I'm expecting yet again another default composition, but I was expecting a default comp last time, and we got anything but a default comp. I believe it was Ohio Northern deciding to bring out a double duelist with a Neon and a Reyna, which is typically a little bit more of an uncommon composition on a map like Haven. It worked out for them, though. They were able to win 13-3. But I'm expecting these teams to kind of fall back to the meta. If we remember how they played correctly back in the Fall Clash, they were pretty default teams, with Cleveland State being honestly one of the best default teams in the tournament. When they were able to just default their way through a game, they had much success.
Now looking at these agent compositions on the side of Cleveland State, we're seeing something pretty standard. Lime picking up Rays instead of Jets. And that's kind of the common theme with a lot of teams. They feel that Jet had been over-nerfed, but a lot of the developers are talking about how they think that Jet is even actually still ahead of the pack when we're talking duelists, and many pro players have been chiming in to give the same thoughts. So for the collegiate level, we'll see how these players adapt over the course of the season. And for now, it seems that Rays is kind of that replacement. But over to the side of Cornell, something much more interesting. Double controller leveraging Sky, and then Phoenix as the main duelist. And I think they're trying to build a roster around the most recent set of nerfs, right? Sky being an amazing initiator still, despite her flash length, distance traveled being nerfed. Phoenix being one of the only agents of the game now with a 6-point ultimate, and that run it back, of course, an amazing tool to enter into the site with 2 of your own flashbangs. And then, of course, Killjoy and Astra having some changes. Killjoy being slightly weakened, and Astra, her stun strengthened. So there's a whole lot going on with the roster of Cornell. All these agents have been shifted up and down in the patch notes and the balance changes of, I believe, 7.04. And so I think what they're going for is whatever feels on pen and paper the strongest agents right now, as opposed to what has historically been proven to be a consistent composition, which is what we're seeing out of Cleveland State.
Yeah, Cleveland State with It's a more default, a more historical composition, like you said. It's the tried and true method. Meanwhile, Cornell trying to keep up with the patch notes. They're trying to play into that new Astra pick because Astra was buffed. Was it this last patch or was it the one before that? I want to
I
say it
bel
was. I want to say it was. I want to say it was the last one.
it was 7.04, and then point oh 0.05 and point oh 0.06 is what these players are playing on for this season.
Yeah. So Astra getting nerfed or getting buffed, excuse me, a couple of patch notes ago, definitely helping out kbull a little bit. We're gonna go back to us for a little bit. Hello, we're still here. Technical difficulties. Sorry about that. But I'm liking the decision from Cornell to try to play into the current meta and trying to maybe pre-jump the meta as well. CSU, they're just playing the good old tried and true. We got KJ, Omen, Raze, Breach as well on Haven's. And it's an interesting pick. It's another historical pick. As of late, haven't seen too much of him, but back a couple of months ago to a year ago, we saw Breach pretty much every time we played on Haven.
Yeah, he found his staple on Fracture and Haven, and this is still a comfort comp for a lot of schools. It's the one that's most rehearsed. It's the easiest to understand for the retakes. With all the angles on the sites, Breach's Aftershock continues to be one of the most valuable pieces of utility to clear out post-plant holds. And so it's reasonable to see him continuously played. As we watch, again, another mid push. And we were seeing this in the prior series as well. Teams would go up mid, but it seems like a single smoke is going to force the attackers of Cornell to fall away.
CSU, of course, taking the pistol round. This time, Cornell has a bit better of a chance to get this eco gone. Lamp, first kill though, trades it out to make it 3 and 4 now for CSU. Lamp 404 is all the way on the other side of the map. Perfect world. CSU might be able to leave Lamp alive to deny the ult point, but no, the kill is more important. Gotta save the life. 2-0 for Cleveland State and Cornell now on to the bonus round. Hopefully for them, they're able to try and fight this back.
Now, thinking about this comp, I'm looking at the possibility that Cornell brings to the table with this Viper Astra combo, and generally you want to see a wall to divide up the C side of the map, and that's kind of what we're looking at. Something to block up the window of garage, but that's equally as dangerous of a wall as defenders could silent drop onto the floor of the garage on the right side. So a little bit of risk, a little bit of reward here. But what I'm seeing out of the defenders of Cleveland that I wasn't seeing in the prior series is this signature KJ turret that a lot of tier 1 teams have been putting down. It's been an integral part of their holds, and it shows that, you know, Cornell has done their homework. They're not just playing on their own and VOD reviewing themselves. They are finding models in tier 2, tier 1 play.
These two teams know each other very, very well. What a shot from Lime, playing in the sewers, not letting them get a chance at life. Early frags, 5 versus 3 at the moment for CSU. It's a perfect start. A site looks to be the site of favorite for Cornell, but Revy not going to let it happen. Fode catching the frag in sewer, and it is an anti-bonus flawless for Cleveland State University. And the rivalry, man, these two teams play each other so much in the MEC. They are at it all the time.
And I'm looking at these sheriffs. Cornell, they have an opportunity on their hands, right? Not an amazing start to the half, sure. We'll just have to swallow that, but they still have enough firepower to make something happen. They just got to move together. A lot of mistakes that teams make in the collegiate and tier 3 level is that they split up on these types of rounds when all you want to do is bring your entire team together. You all body shot the same person, that's a free rifle for one of you. You slowly snowball that throughout the round. And it seems like Cornell might be falling victim to that as they have posted up in a garage with only 2 of their players. No pressure across the map means that the defenders are feeling very comfortable. Cleveland, they don't have to do anything fancy. But this walk-up, though, on A-Longs.
Lime caught out in a really rough position. Gets away with the life, but does a lot of damage to Sky, which is massive. That's the healer almost chopped down. And now they rotate over back to C. Let's see if it works out for him. Only pistols in hand.
Oh, Banthanor. All this utility, just a distraction for Marvel to find a pick with the Nano Swarm, and Sully as well.
Marvel gets blinded. Caught out. Lamp left with just 11 HP. And it's a 3 versus 3 on this retake here. Phet lands the first shot through the firewall. Catches one more, and kbull is the last to fall. It's a fantastic round from Phet, getting all 3 frags of the last retake. And round 5 now about to get underway. CSU is looking really, really nice.
Cornell having a tough time. They just got to find their space. I like the idea of what they got going on with their composition. Double controller definitely is the kind of, hey, let's take map space slowly, work the entirety of the map, but it feels like there's way too much of a focus here on C long and garage, where there could be more in the center of mid and A, right? For a double controller composition, it feels like they're giving away a bit too much space, and they're also a little inefficient with their utility. You can see that those nebulas, the Astro Smokes, are falling into the same line of sights that the Viper Wall is already covering. And so that's a reduction in utility, an expenditure of utility that isn't necessary. And so in the post plant, it's going to be a little bit less that Cornell has to work with. But they are 2 agents up, Tucker.
That they are, and the spike's ticking. Unsure if CSU is going to try for a retake or just a couple of kills. Right now, the Aftershock forces them on out. Revy landing 1. And I guess they viewed that the guns being stripped off of Cornell is more important than the guns staying on Cleveland State. And right now, I get it. With 4 rounds under the belt, all the money that they could ever want, I definitely get it. They're able to strip 1 away. And they are still in a very fantastic position. They lost 1 round. The C site was taken over pretty easily. The first couple of frags went there, and it just snowballed from there. But they still have a 3-round lead. No problems in sight for Cleveland State yet.
Here's a bit of aggression. Using that Viper Wall against Cornell. We see a Raze walking down mid, but kbull, they got a different idea here. I like that default smoke. Cut off the line of sight. Ooh, but it's not that perfect default. They're aware of it, though. They're in that corner. Banthanor has that game sense to know someone could be posted at the bottom of the window. Lime, though, still able to find one, and no one going in for the trade. Means that numbers are down for Cornell.
A site hit now. As Phet is still on the site. The fault line coming out. Lime with a triple kill. Make it 4 kills. On for the ace. Phet is hiding. Lime is hunting. On the prowl. On the chase. And Phet's just going to run away. Trying to deny the ace. It's a 1 versus 5. They need an ace of their own if they want to win this round. Call me crazy, but I'm not so sure about this one. Oh, Sully. Perfect peek. Flawless round. Cornell not able to get a single frag. Only bit of damage was done onto the Rays.
Watching this gap increase. Cleveland just so far. Keeping that tempo in their favor. And it just feels like Cornell is familiarizing themselves with this agent pool that they got going on. And I know I keep touching on that, Tucker, but it just feels like there's so much potential in this comp that isn't being leveraged. We're not seeing space created by Phoenix over on the A side. No default smokes by Astra in combination with this Viper wall that's going up. And for a double controller team, they're losing mid really fast. Look at Link already in the window.
Yay. For all of what just happened, to still get the frag is absolutely insane. One player lost on each side. Cornell kind of trapped between a rock and a hard place as to where they want to go. Do they want to try to rotate over to the C? Do they want to try to push through the window? Or just try to play the main part and go through A long? But they have the Sova playing right there. Sully winning out that fight. The toe shots are enough. Sully dropped down to a pretty low amount of HP. But that is a one-man advantage nonetheless.
Ooh, Phet spotted. On a heal here. Always want to be diligent in getting those. Sky being able to heal her entire team and Phoenix being able to heal themselves is great for the attackers right now, as they can kind of engage in these riskier fights and fall back and recoup the HP. This fault line is going to be insane.
That it is. Not enough to secure the round, but it's enough to pretty much secure the round. Phet's left all alone, trying to heal up a very awkward wall. But it's ultimately not going to matter. They can't get the shot. Steals the Odin away at the last second. That'll help them out. Timeout comes out, and honestly, it is expected. 6-1 after 7 rounds. When you're on attack is not where you want to be. You want to have at least a tie when you're on attack. You do not want to be trailing by 5.
Definitely, to be sure. And you were talking about how we're seeing this map become more attackers sided. So watching Cornell fall behind, that's definitely going to be a tough one. But again, not tapping into their full potential here. So we're going to see whether or not they discover that through this timeout and what kbull could potentially be discussing with the rest of the squadron. And it's really got to be some pressure towards A. They are losing out on that space so early. They're cutting up the map precisely with this wall. I'm liking what I'm seeing with certain placements of utility. There's just no bodies in the places that there need to be. Meanwhile, for Cleveland, they're doing all the right things. I mean, they're, after all, playing on a comp that's been well rehearsed and played for multiple acts now, multiple seasons of competitive organized Valorant. So they get to kind of crutch on not just whatever comfort strategies that they have, but anything that they've studied from so far.
Yeah, absolutely. I really respect the picks. Like the meta picks, quote unquote meta picks. I absolutely commend them for giving that a shot. But I mean, there's a reason why it's the tried and true. There's a reason why KJ, Omen, Sova has been picked on this map for months and months and months. And while I don't hate the picks at all, I feel like it is a very nice pick. In a couple of months, this might just be the meta on Haven. I'm just not sure it's too rehearsed. It's not rehearsed enough. And for CSU, this is a team that has been rehearsing the default for as long as I have been casting them. I just feel like this was not the right team to test this out against. Because now you're down by 5. Barely over halfway through this side. Trying to get onto the B site, but now they've got a kill box essentially. And Revy making quick work of said kill box. And that is just unfortunate. Phet gets stuck with the recon bolt, and Revy will pick up an ace. 7-1 now.
Already in the round robin phase. First one of the season. Then moving on. First broadcast day. They're sending a message right after Fall Clash. Right, we had that prior weekend. This time around starting the season, and they want to make sure that everyone knows. Eyes got to be kept on Revy. Can't be looking away, and now we eyeball what's going on over at C for Cornell as the attackers immediately spotted by the turret. They're not going to give away how many are C long, but it's certainly going to give a strong idea to Marvel that they probably shouldn't go to fight when the Seekers follow through as well.
Banthanor gets this spike down, and this will help out Cornell quite a bit. They have 3 ultimates in reserve. Viper's Pit, Lockdown, and the Cosmic Divide. I mean, 3 of the best defensive ultimates that you can get. But do they want to use it on this side? That's the question. Retakes starting to come through. Marvel going to try to tap that bomb. The swarm grenade's going to get the long-range kill. And at the moment, it's just a kill box yet again. But for the other side, Cornell lands a flawless round, 7-2. And they get another ult.
A really strong plant for the post, especially with the Odin. I will say, I was expecting it more to be planted long, or if with that plant in particular, that Cornell would wrap around through grass or hay bales once again to make their way into garage for a crossfire on the bomb. But they didn't need it. It just felt as if that Cleveland State went for the defuse one by one, completely ignoring the threat of the Odin, and they even had potential to flank earlier in that retake and just opted away from it. Now, walking to see once more, and Blaze is doing a lot of work to cut up this site.
Slowly shuts down that run it back. Gives the intel, though. Banthanor can't land those shots. Trades it off, though. Jumping shot. Can't quite connect. Lend 4. Completely canceled. 3 versus 3. C site. Looks like it's under Cornell control. The shots can't land. The fault line comes through at the perfect time, the perfect position. And what an efficient round from CSU. Not only using up 0 ultimates, I believe, but forcing Cornell to use 2.
And that's just as big as of a benefit and as an advantage of as is winning the round, taking away the tools for your opponent to use in the future, forcing them out, making them feel as if they can have the potential to win out the round, just to pull the rug from under them. Dart broken early. That's going to be another 30 some odd seconds before CSU Fode can get that info once again. Meanwhile, you got Sky still in a great position as an initiator. She's going to use that Trailblazer after comboing the flash first in the round to now reveal that Sova and Raze are both on A side. So this should tell Cornell that they want to move out towards mid, but they find a pick in garage. It should reinforce that idea, but this lockdown is going out, and that's going to change the whole flow of the round.
Viper's Pit on B site. Seems like this will be where the plant is, but the defender locked down, and there's no way for the attackers to shut that down. Out comes yet another attacker ultimate, or another defender ultimate. This time it is the showstopper, but the show goes on.
Uh-oh. Marvel stuck in the cubby. Banthanor has mollies, but I guess we're just going to go for the gravity well, and hey, it's going to do its job as Phet finishes off that Killjoy. And it's a 3 versus 1 situation with a lone Sova for CSU stuck all the way across the map. Spike's going down A, or going down C. That Sova's stuck A, moving through the B site now.
Both going to try to navigate their way through, carve up this post plant, try to win it out. Phet goes down to a very low amount of HP, gets caught with the recon dart, and now Phet gets swung. That's 1 kill for foe. That's more than was necessary. Attackers win it, but that's going to strip off some guns away. I say it's worth it. You have so much more money.
There's Cable. 2 off of the Cosmic Divide. And to be able to have that in addition to the Viper's wall when it does come up, there's just so many possible options for pulling out the utility of Cleveland State. I mean, when you look at Cleveland, right, you get rid of the nanoswarms, get rid of the turret, and that's the vast majority of their information gone. Force Sova to use his owl drone, and the map is entirely yours. So that should be the goal of Cornell, and well, they won't have to do it this round because it seems like A is wide open for him.
There is the Rays holding out there, but there's no ult. There's no real way to deny this plant, only dealing some chip damage. I don't even think they were able to get too much. But now here comes the cavalry. There's a couple of lurks coming out. There's the Omen playing long range. Hunter's Fury now coming out, Lime with a double before they're finally traded off. There is the lineups, however. They're going to have to come in really, really quickly. Lend is in a pretty precarious position. They're about to get peeked. Shot from the side. That's going to be way too late. The spike is halved. This might be enough. It might just hold out. Slowly going to defuse, and no, it will not. That'll be the half.
Fun fact, ladies and gentlemen, doesn't matter if you've got Orb and Viper Molly, it's not going to stop someone from halving the bomb if they're at full health. You're going to have to add a little bit of extra oomph to make sure that you can stop them completely. And if that spike is already halved, doesn't matter where you are on the map, doesn't matter how early you throw that Molly, if they're able to stick it as soon as they step into it, into that Molly, they'll be more than in the clear. And so you see that come to life in that previous round as we swap sides, and now Cornell is on the defense.
Scary sight to look at if you are Cornell. CSU has been carving them up with the default all game long. And if they can do it 4 more times, then they will have an easy finish to Haven, just like what we saw with Ohio Northern. It's an A hit. Kbull is caught with a really rough position, and Lime sees the ghost. Gotta take that suppressor off. Paint Shell doing a lot of damage to Lynn, somehow barely still alive. But the healer is now down to a very low amount of HP. Triple kill for Revy, or Lime, as Revy gets the 4th, and Lamp is the last one left. And that'll do it.
Tough situation there for those holding in the back of a site. The side of Cornell, forgetting that they already took the mag out of their gun for the reload animation. Coming in back, realizing, oh wait, I have to let this animation finish. That's a tough one. That is a toughie. And kbull falling a bit too early, positioning that can't be traded. Those kinds of small mistakes, but overall, this setup is pretty nasty. Let's talk about that Viper wall that goes from C to garage door to mid. And then the Killjoy utility behind it in case anyone is brave enough to push through. That's crazy to me.
Yeah, that
Cornell,
is insane.
they have all these tools to succeed on the defense. They just got to show some patience.
Yeah, I agree. Typically, Viper's been neglected on a map like Haven, but I mean, with that wall, that is insane. Kbull caught off guard, slowly giving Astra no shot at that one. Lamp 404, error 404, shots not found. And 60 damage is done by the shock dart as well. And now the push. And this should be the round going their way unless Phet has something to say about it. Right now, it's just the Classic, and the Classic can't do anything about it. Phet hiding in the smoke, no chance for that one. But let's talk about that Viper a little bit more. Viper's an agent that we just have never seen prominently on a map like Haven. But I mean, with walls like that and the Viper's pit taking up 90% of B, I'm not sure why. I mean, I could see how Omen or Astra would be a little bit better, but Viper is absolutely viable. But
yeah,
we never see her.
The only teams we see kind of pioneering these wall controllers, Harbor and Viper, are PRX and Loud. And frankly, it's not an easy style to play with. That's the thing, is you have to be hyper aware of how you want to cut up the map. And we even see that manifest itself where Cornell has this amazing setup, and even on their ecos, they're pushing past it. You know, you have to have that level of patience and positioning where you understand everything's pretty much taken care of and you're waiting for the enemy to make the first mistake.
Oh, wow. Lamp had the right idea, but everything just kind of worked against them. The recon dart, pretty much everything you can think of. Banthanor now just crouch walking it around, Sully not even aware. But they get away with their life as Lime runs away. Ares versus Odin. You'd think the Odin would win, but not this time. Not when you catch him off guard. And now, match point. CSU only one round off of the dub.
I mean, it didn't help that they started off that Odin spray with a crab walk, you know? Crouching does increase your accuracy, but it doesn't help a whole lot when you're moving while doing it. That being said, Odin is the spray weapon. You're sort of expecting some amount of bullets in your 200 bullet magazine to hit. But sometimes it's just unlucky. Now we're watching pressure over on the C side as Cleveland State approach. Banthanor finds one through the smoke, so this should discourage a push. This should discourage a commitment, but no one's leaving until Banthanor says they can. And Banthanor is deciding that no one gets to leave without permission whatsoever. Sully will finally respond to stop the hemorrhaging of players. And now we've reset to 3 versus 3, but still, the attackers, that breach, is pretty low on HP, Tucker.
That they are, but they keep feeding these players. They keep feeding this team, and now it's not a 3v3 anymore. The advantage securely in CSU's favor. 59 seconds to play. They could rotate off. They could try to keep pushing the C side, but there's a couple players that are really low on HP. I don't think you can afford to play these long-range fights. I think you have to rotate here, and that's what they're going to try to do.
Taking their time.
30 seconds left.
This is a very winnable round despite being an agent down. Right, when you're looking at the defending side. 2 versus 3 scenario, but
They don't
breach and
know.
that killjoy. So low. Cleveland State.
Spike planted.
They just have to play a crossfire. They have to be willing to die here. Turn that fear of low HP into bravery enough to play with your team with confidence. I like that curveball being used to step out, but unfortunately the fault line is going to isolate these fights, and that'll go ahead and turn it into a 13-3 victory for the side of Cleveland State, Tucker.
2 maps on Haven and 2 13-3s. CSU keeping their streak over Cornell College intact now as they have won the last 3 games. Now it's 13-9, 14-12, and 13-3 with a chance to make it 4 in a row as next map will be coming up in just a few moments. Make sure you don't go anywhere. We got a best of 3, and map 1 is just getting done. More Valorant left to come. Welcome back to MEC Valorant. This is week 1. Just got done with map 1 of the second match of the day. 13-3 on Haven, where Cleveland State made quick work of Cornell College. Map 2 about to get underway, where we go to Ascent. I'm still Tucker Haynes. This is still Ash Khan. And Ash Khan, take us through some of the stats that we picked up from last match.
One of the big things I wanted to note was Lime picking up 6 first bloods, exceeding even ONU's Neon 5 first bloods on the very same map of Haven. So Lime coming in, setting some records there, being such a huge force in that opening picks on the attack, and then Marvel on Killjoy getting 3 first bloods of their own, meaning on defense they were holding down the fort each and every time, putting around a dozen first bloods in the favor of Cleveland. Every single round, they found themselves with some form of advantage, and we'll just have to see if that pattern continues over on Ascent. It's a very different map, much tighter, much closer, very different meta, and of course, it's going to force the players to play vastly differently. We didn't see the operator come out on Haven, at least if I'm remembering correctly, Tucker.
I don't think so. I I do not think we saw the op come out on Haven. On Ascent last time we did, we saw so many ops come out on Ascent in the ONU match, but Haven, I don't think we've seen it come out at all on Haven today.
Right, and so that's going to be a big playstyle shift for these players on Ascent because that is standard. We talked about it last time. If you got a Jet or a Duelist in your composition, you're expecting them to pick up the big stick and start firing away, or even go EMEA style and slap it onto your Killjoy if you're playing off site. But we'll just have to wait and see what these comps end up being because we've had a lot of surprises throughout the maps today. I mean, we have this idea of what is meta, what is standard. The tier 1 and the tier 2 teams really just dictate that for the collegiate and tier 3 players, but we're watching a lot of these teams carve out their own identity against their opponents within the league. And that's something I really enjoy seeing. I love these teams growing into their own, but it also makes me question what is the potential of their what they bring to the table, and I'm excited to see what exactly it is.
And Ascent last time was a really close match. Despite Haven being an absolute stomp, it was 14 to 12 last time we went to Ascent. Of course, if you remember, Ohio Northern did in fact end up winning that game. That's not to say that Briar Cliff was not able to bring that to a really close scoreline. And maybe the same thing might just happen here. Defenders already locked in. Cornell, they have their composition already planned out. Meanwhile, CSU, they're going to think about it for a little bit before they decide to lock in.
Cornell opting for a very interesting composition, some variety off of the traditional comp. They maintain the Jet Killjoy KO. Sova swapped out for Fade, and Omen swapped out for Brimstone, and I can only perceive their end goal as a stall composition. They want to keep the timer running for as long as possible to prevent the attackers from planting the spike. And Brimstone is perfect for that. Has the longest smoke timer in the game. With two Prowlers, Fade can kind of give consistent info where Sova only has the one drone. And of course, matched with KO's knife means that they're going to be able to hard stop any pushes that come through. But I'm curious about Cleveland's Breach, because that's not an agent we commonly see. And I was talking about how that Aftershock is extremely useful over on the map of Haven. The same is true only sometimes for Ascent. The most common angles where you'd find Breach's Aftershock to be most effective is not usually where you find agents playing, as it's already bad fights for the defenders. So we'll see how they leverage Breach's kit on the attack.
A lot of uncommon picks on Ascent. I'm really excited to see how Breach is played. I've not seen Breach on Ascent in a long time. I want to say it's been at least a year, but definitely some interesting compositions from both sides. Like you said, Cornell, they deciding to switch out the more traditional controllers for a Brimstone, which I mean, I absolutely see why. The smoke timer is very long. It's a little bit longer than Omen's. I feel like Omen has a little bit more control over the map, though. And for Ascent, it's just so much more useful. The teleports, the paranoia. Meanwhile, Cornell's Brimstone, of course, has very long smokes. Only has 3 of them. They don't recharge over time. The stim beacon is okay. The Molly's really good, and the ult's really good. I just still feel like Omen is a little bit better of a choice for Ascent.
And here we are, right into the action. Our very first retake of the round. Of the map, excuse me. As we see Lamp 404 walking in, find a dink onto line, but Phet finishes the drop from tree. And we see the drop down. Fode falls. So too does kbull. It's a 1 versus 2. Can slowly make their way around to the bomb. This wraparound, seeing the intention there, but puts themselves in a really difficult spot. Phet forced to take the fight, though. Has to reload. Swaps for the classic. And they finish the job, as well as getting the defuse due to getting the half earlier. No half, no win. Phet picks back up the Sheriff, and that's going to be a narrow victory for Cornell. Definitely a nail-biter.
2 seconds to spare for Cornell, but the defense is able to retake that site. And this is one of the more defender-sided maps according to Radiant Ranked. Of course, this is competitive. There are a lot more communications going on between these teams rather than your average rank stat. Even at the highest level, there's a lot of no-comers in Radiant. There's a lot of no-comers down here in Bronze as well. It's all about the luck of the draw. But meanwhile, round 2 underway. It seems to be a pretty heavy mid-push. A site pretty wide open. KO and Brimstone are pushed up pretty far. Meanwhile, that Raze is looking to do a little bit of work. There goes Lime. Not able to get one kill, but there's Sully. Eventually, Lime's able to make that frenzy work. Banthanor stuck in a really rough position. The faster shots help out just a little bit, and Lind able to make the Stinger work at medium range. With the health advantage heavily in favor of CSU. Lind makes another kill appear out of thin air. Fode goes down. Sully left in a very awkward spot, and Lind gets 3.
Really working it out with the Sheriffs and the Stingers and trying to make money moves, keeping as much as they can, but fortunately, that's not going to be the case for Cornell. Meanwhile, Cleveland, it's their bye round. They're forcing up. They got the rifles. They know what's up. Again, not a lot of focus on the ultimate orbs. It's something that we see consistently across Collegiate and Tier 3. And this is something that I think Riot was intentionally trying to get everyone to do with those changes to the ultimates back in 7.04, making a lot of ultimates much more costly. But here's an interesting fight out in the mid. Lime and everyone else on the top of Cap for the attackers, able to find the defenders, pushing up off of a timing and through a smoke. This is just going to leave Lamp 404 all alone, and this is a tall ask for a single agent, Tucker.
Especially with just a Stinger. If they had a Vandal and 150 in the health bar, I would not count them out just yet, but a Stinger is not what you want. 25 shield is not what you want. Spike goes down. We need to see the retake come in really, really quickly because the Stinger can only do so much damage and it only has so much range. Feld's giving up and Sully on the chase. Lamp peeking out, wants to catch them off guard, but they can't. Sully is too quick with it. The bonus round goes CSU's way, leaving 4 players alive from it. Best case scenario almost for Cleveland.
If you ever watch a pro match and you wonder why, even with like a Stinger or a Spectre in hand, the player just allows themselves to dive at a bomb as a defender, it's because they don't want to give away the ult point. And there, for Lamp, you know, in that 1v4 where things are doomed, but you don't want to save because you need money the next, that's kind of where you want to do the same thing. They perish, so they do have money, but again, every ult orb counts. That's something that we can't be disregarding, and we're going to see that manifest over the course of this half, because as the attackers start getting fed these orbs, they'll be able to start cycling for control of the map, which we see now with the lockdown. And as soon as Rolling Thunder for Breach is ready, I think we're going to start seeing ults being traded out round after round after round for the attackers. And this time it's Lamp detained in the back of sight, and that's a scary position to be in.
Lamp gets their gun back, but just as Fode is lurking in on the kill. Very nice paranoia. I believe some damage was done to Brimstone. Maybe not, actually. 5 vs 4 spikes down. Site is under firm control. Marvel lands a couple shots before finally getting taken down. And it's up to Lind in another clutch situation. 3 on the round, but it's not enough to win it out. Attackers win it. CSU now with 2 in a row. Let's see if they can make it 3 in a row, take this lead. They definitely got the firepower to do so. I see an Omen. An Odin, sorry. Those words are so hard, they're so close.
And I'm just taking a look at what's cooking up here for the defenders. I mean, keeping Fade and Killjoy on the same site could be a little bit of a doozy. but I'm looking at this potential of the haunt, right? The reveal, trying to match what Sova's Dart is capable of over in B main, and for the walkout. This turret is going to give information as soon as Cleveland State moves up. They're going to get revealed, and there's no need to peek anymore off that if you're Cornell. You get the idea. B main is threatened. It's compromised. But I like the discipline there. As the defenders, Cornell don't over-rotate off the first contact. They're ready for anything to happen. And that's including Cleveland State running all the way through their spawn to push back up onto A with 4 agents.
Banthanor so close. Lands the shot. KJ goes down. That'll help out the post plant a little bit. But it gives him another ult. Rolling Thunder now out. Into the shadows. Online as well. A site. Starting to get pushed out. Utility coming out to push Lend back into the site. Rolling Thunder. Breach pushes in. Gets the headshot with the Vandal. Forcing Lamp 404 back behind the smoke. And a 2 versus 4 retake is all but necessary for kbull. Only pistols on the side of Cornell. A Ghost and a Sheriff.
There comes that fault line. Lamp 404. Halted for a little bit. Lime sitting on this edge, not quite able to find the bullets onto Lamp with only 46 HP. What can this Killjoy do? They gotta swing, gotta find one. A dink with this Ghost would be amazing, but it doesn't seem like it's coming through. Pressured by the flashpoint out of Breach and a swing by Raze once again. It's going to close out number 5, round number 6 on its way, and I just want to give credit to that Breach for recognizing the reality of the situation. In an ideal world, that Rolling Thunder is held on for a few more rounds until the Killjoy lockdown is ready, and they can continue that cycle as I was talking about. But they understood that with no control of the map, they just had to let it rip. So Revy definitely had a great read on that situation. And Tucker, it looks like they can continue the onslaught because that showstopper is in the back pocket of Lime.
Another B attack, it seems. The smoke comes out of market, denying easy access for Cornell. Starting to seem like the bread and butter. There's nobody holding it down on the B side. It is a free red carpet, but they don't know that. They don't have the super OP observer vision like we do. There's no one holding the angle. They could just run all the way through Raceway. Cornell playing a very hands-off approach. CSU probably waiting for a little bit more utility to pop up. B site definitely the weaker. A site being held down by the Brimmy and KO. There goes the haunt, and now out comes the showstopper. Like you mentioned, the back pocket trick of CSU has come out. No kills, but it did get a little bit of pressure put on the other side. kbull, nice double kill. Revy gets this spike down, but it's a 5 versus 3 in favor of Cornell, thanks to the heroics of kbull.
This is a tough situation to play with because all of your post planners are on the site. No pressure whatsoever to stop the defenders from coming in for this retake. Now Sully is going to try to go for this fight, is going to find one, but Lamp immediately trades out, and it's just not looking too good. There's no protocol set up for this post plant, something that the Guard and other teams and challengers have developed, where you have a player sitting on that boat in the back of Boathouse, right there on the left side of Len's screen, and then sitting on the center Radiant crates as well, to create a double up for stairs while being completely blind to the people walking in from lane. This kind of rehearsal is what you want to see out of these team players, but not implemented, at least as of yet. And so that lack of coordination is going to cost the round, and Cornell bringing things back 3-3.
Got another even round. Phet deciding not to buy up because they have the Blade Storm online. I'm expecting them to use it in place of a Vandal or Phantom. That's exactly what they do. Meanwhile, Cleveland State University looking for the A site push, trying to get something done there. Flash comes out. Len peeks out. Lime pushed up way too far. Banthanor predicts that they're hiding behind the box and sprays right through it. And what better gun to spray with than an Odin?
Early pressure punished. Cleveland trying to look for a pick. And they're really not taking their time over on the B side, is what I've noticed. Cornell, their whole defense is founded on this killjoy setup at B. It just feels like CSU haven't acknowledged that yet. They haven't taken the time to just simply break the turret. When they go B, they're just executing out. They don't reset. They don't cut noise. They've done one rotation, and that's about it. Here we go. Now out onto the sites. And the message is crystal clear, Tucker. Spike's going down.
Advantage for Cornell, though. This might help them out a little bit. But they have some outside pressure playing from B main. Sully, I'm not sure. They know that they're there. The orbital strike going to come out. Sully with a double kill. Helping quite a bit. Triple for Sully. Eventually Marvel's the last one left and gets the frag over Lynn. And attackers take yet another. And look what ult is online now. The lockdown for the attacking side. We might be able to see a dueling lockdown round on Ascent. I got a feeling that that lockdown is going to be crucial to one of these coming rounds.
Right now, poised for A. That's the side of Cleveland. They're ready. But Len, tossing that 0 point early, is able to detect 4. That's going to go ahead and give the signal for a rotation, but those mollies coming out a bit early.
You should run.
Hacking lockdown. They decide to commit. They got Banthanor holding back sight, completely blind. They know that Banthanor is there. Sully gets the trade off. However, Banthanor is able to get one frag. Spike's going to go down. One player is detained. And out comes the dueling lockdown. Phet caught off. No kill for them. Paint shell, is it enough to destroy the lockdown? Yes, it is. And Lime is in a really nice spot to get everything. 3 kills, and it's another round going to Cleveland.
Both lockdowns coming out means neither Killjoy is going to have an ultimate moving forward, at least for a while. And I mean, we're on round 8. That thing got set up to what, an 8 ult point cost now? There is no feasible way that either of these players pick it up and put it down again without an ace.
Right now, it's so hard for Cornell to fight off this attack from Cleveland State as they're playing with their ultimate so well. Whenever one ultimate goes offline, they get another. We saw the lockdown get utilized, and now the Rolling Thunder is right up. And let's talk about the Into the Shadows. That's been online for like 5 rounds now. Whenever Marvel decides to use it, they can. Meanwhile, Cornell has nothing. I think they're like a couple of ults that are like within 3 or so points, but that's just not enough.
We were talking about how there's a certain level of rehearsal as well as fallback that you can have when it comes to strategies, right? You got to know what you want. You have to understand the dynamic of your team. But then in addition, you want to study up on whatever the pros are doing, of course. And something that I don't think is being taken advantage of is the From the Shadows, particularly to create splits across the map where you can have maybe a duelist or an initiator go in together with the spike, and worst case scenario, your Omen and the rest of the squad is already taking a different side across the map, where From the Shadows is used to retrieve the bomb and set up a plant. Anyways, we move forward. kbull finds the first blood of this round, and Sully and Marvel respond in kind. Sully even going as far to get a second.
It's a save round for Cornell. It's a Bucky and a classic at long range. What a shot from Sully. What another shot. KJ Battle is one out by the attacking side yet again. It seems we have a carbon copy of the first time on Ascent today. Despite it being a defender-sided map, the attacking side is really starting to take the lead. The afterburners are starting to get warmed up. CSU is wasting no time with any move they do. They are playing efficient Valorant right now.
That indeed they are. But Cornell, they're not letting it slip away too much as we see them. They are not deterred from walking up into the mid.
Sully has so much potential with this angle.
Lamp spraying down with the Ares. That was looking a little scary, but looks like both Killjoys have a little something in their back pocket.
Sully again at mid. Somehow kbull gets that fight down. But at the moment, it's a 3 versus 3. Phet's got to run out. There goes the Hunter's Fury. It's a double kill with one shot. Spike's starting to tick. Phet's down to 27 HP. KJ's just a little bit higher. 36. And now it's up to the last player standing. That'll chop it down to 12. And it's 7-3. Cleveland State, the tried and true, keeps on trying true.
Alt-wise, Revy is packing that Rolling Thunder once again, but this isn't the type of round where you're too keen on expending it. Cornell has a little bit of money here and there, but not the most amount. So you're trying to probably win this out with as little investment as possible to guarantee the next round as well, knowing that it is a potential buy round, but kbull, maybe having forced a Bulldog, gets the confidence to hold B main, and this is enough information for Cornell to understand that this is likely an A hit, and that's why we're finding all of these early rotations.
The calm before the storm. As out comes the showstopper, Phet is forced back, but the showstopper has not been shot yet. Now it has been. Banthanor goes down line looking for the double, cannot quite find it. Aftershock now coming out, forcing them off of their position, and Phet finally somehow able to get a frag. Sully does a 180 and catches them both, leaving kbull in the dust, 1 versus 4. And we are in salvage territory for the entirety of Cornell College. kbull gets peeked. Ooh.
It takes that confident swing, knowing there's only one place that kbull could be. But man, props to Banthanor, in a great position, understands that the site sack needs to happen, but only armed with the classic in that kind of situation. What more can you do? I mean, maybe start spamming that left click instead of waiting for the right click, but that's about it. Even then, you're just at every disadvantage possible. So props to their game sense, but tough draw on the economy this go around, though. Perhaps we can see a little bit better from the rest of the squadron as we have Nightfall in the back pocket of Phet, and that's going to be a great retake ultimate. So there's no need to contest any of these pushes, especially this Killjoy lockdown. The defenders can absolutely just let this one go.
Aiden Shell Grenade gets that frag down. The KJ is done for, and Revy will plant this down. Nightfall now coming out, like you said. It's a very useful ultimate, but the Rolling Thunder negates it entirely. Sully somehow losing that fight, Phet winning it fantastically. But the spike is ticking. They've got the push on the site. All 3 players are holding behind the boathouse and behind the shed. Going to make this a really difficult round to win for the attack. However, if they can keep them held off for just a little bit longer, this will absolutely be winnable. Revy body blocked by kbull, and that will be 9-3 at the half. Ashcon, you have got to be kidding me.
But wait, there's more. With the new half comes the change of the sides, and Cornell now on the attack can show us what their comp is made of. We talked about how they have a lot of stall potential with that Brimstone KJ combo. They can shut down pushes, but on the attack, what else do they got? I mean, lineups with the Haunt means just as much information as a Soba. but in addition, you have that tether. And that tether is going to be huge for clearing angles like the back of generator or stairs on B, maybe even pizza in mid or market. And the Prowler can cover anything else that isn't caught up in everyone else's utility. So lots of potential to clear out early angles, hold space, and then execute after cutting noise. We'll see if that's what Cornell does or if they have other ideas.
Solid shot from kbull. Start us off. kbull. This time it's Phet keeping him coming. Marvel whiffing some shots. Lamp 404 cutting down Sully, and we might just be on for a flawless round. Hold on a second here. Phet's the last one left, and it's a 1 versus 5.
Rounding the corner and finds Phet. There we go. Ending it. That 13th round, moving on to round number 14. And Tucker, we got to be careful here. If you're the winning side, right? If you're already taking a map lead, you can't be getting cocky. You called that out in our prior series of the day. And things got awfully close. And I'm wondering if that pattern is going to repeat itself. You know, at 13-3, look, you get that in map 1. Of course you're going to feel confident. But arrogance is where we start towing the line of failure. So we'll see how that manifests as we go down the later bits of this half. But all I know is that Cornell gets to force up.
CSU deciding to just push all the way through mid. There is strength in numbers, I will tell you that much. And right now they have 4 pushing up through mid, trying to rotate around and get them on the flank. And CSU knows. They got 1 holding CT. That's a very rough angle to play against. But at the moment, kbull and company, they know. Cornell holding as passive as a position as they can, forcing the one-sided fights for them. Now we got Revy left in the 1 versus 5, possibly 2 flawless rounds in a row, maybe.
Careful what you wish for. And here we go. We were talking earlier about how you want to perish to the spike as opposed to giving the opponent an extra ult orb, and it looks like Breach is going to do exactly that. And as you called it, what is a flawless round for the side of Cornell.
So far, Cornell has not dropped a single player after the side switch. The bonus round might just see that change. We'll have to see. Of course, we have a full buy from CSU. Still a 4-round lead, so they're not in any worry. But if they lose this round, I would definitely start picking up the pace. I mean, I'm not going to say the C word, but the score at the half was 9-3.
That is fair enough. Something to look into, but we're talking about topics to look into. I'm still watching Killjoy. I talked about how Cleveland could have done that for their attack, and the same rule is going to apply to Cornell. Will they take their time and do their due diligence to get rid of the turret and the alarm bot, especially out in mid? When you look at the minimap, you can see that this alarm bot is doing a lot of heavy lifting. Once that's done, you know that Cleveland State, they're going to have to be scrambling to find a new way to maintain map control.
Yeah, it's a pretty one-sided, or not necessarily a one-sided, but there's only one line of defense at mid, and that is that alarm bot. And talk about heavy lifting. That is a lot of lifting for just one little bot to do. Climb and Revy peeking out, getting the spike down. Revy getting way too overconfident, and now it is a completely free site on A. Len 4 will plant. And a 2 versus 3 retake. The better guns doesn't really matter right now, because Cornell has the advantage, and the advantage is bigger than any gun advantage you could ever have. They got 2 playing down in hell. Phet catches 1, trades it off though, and Sully now has everything looking against him. Trying to hold it down. Sully gets caught off guard, and the bonus round gets flipped on its head. 6-9 is the score. Ash Khan. Oh no, it's happening again.
That stick by Sully was very ambitious. I like that they get it to half, but they stayed on for an extra second or two, and that one had me on the edge of my seat, wondering what was going on, and they 100% got punished for it, but also both post planters really not risking a jiggle where they could have spent the extra time to confirm what was going on. We're looking at this early knife, lend 4, making sure that no one's walking up to B main. That's some good information to have, but Revy scoped in the perfect position to get that dink over in tiles, and now all the defenders have to do is wait. Killjoy, set up A. They could just let her solo. Still some rotation, so maybe there's a thought in the minds of Cleveland that it could be an A hit, but the reality is we're watching a sprint all the way back to B.
Oh, doesn't catch the shot, but neither does Lamp. Smoke starting to come out. 1 minute to go, but there's not a lot of utility on the B side. There's going to be a lot of firepower needed to hold this site down. And when you don't have that much firepower, it is so much easier said than done. Lime holding it down very effectively on the B site with the Stinger, nearly getting a triple with it. But a double will suffice. Banthanor now has an Odin. Orbital strike coming out. Does not quite find the frag. kbull stuck in an awkward position. Getting swung around. Lands the shots onto Marvel, and now it leaves Banthanor in the 1 versus 3. The Odin is still in the hand, but not for long. Solely through the box, catches them out. Double digits is now reached for CSU, but some good ground was made up.
Oh, I'm looking at some of these ultimates coming up online soon. Extra options there. Lend 2 off of the no command, and kbull 1 of the nightfall. I keep bringing up that key word, stagger. When you've got 2 initiators with ults to take the site, don't be using them on the same round. Don't be over-investing. Keep to the reality of the situation.
1 at a time. That is the plan to win this game. 1 ult at a time.
Now, a lot of players in A main means that 1 smoke is going to cut off the entire push. And that's going to force about half of that roster to move back into mid. That's a tough place to be in. Lime already in tiles here, Tucker.
I don't think Banthanor knows. No, they do not. By the time they do, it is way too late. Paranoia comes out. Phet caught off guard. Marvel gets a double, extending the advantage to 2 now. The A site has been completely shut down. The A push is no longer with a spike down deep in courtyard. We might just be on the verge of an 11th round. Sully just shift walking it through. kbull perishes. And it's Lamp left to themselves. 1 versus 4. Make it none. 11-6. Just 1 round off of match point now for Cleveland State University. The Vikings push on further, and they leave Cornell on an eco.
Whoa. What is going on with Sully? I just noticed dropping 23 kills, Tucker?
That's a lot. That is quite a bit.
Yeah. No joke. 17 rounds total so far as we're now entering the 18th. Lamp 404 trying to keep up, and they're doing their job as a killjoy. It's just that Sully is really showing some top-class gameplay. Banthanor taking the time to res lend. So they're not going to lose out a player too early. And they got 1 in their favor, so Cornell should be comfortable moving in.
Looks like they are. They do have the advantage. Sully can't quite land those shots. Revy still popping off over at mid. Double kill for him. Make it a 2 versus 2 now. Banthanor's in an awkward spot. They're going to try to push on through. You have Spike, Banthanor. What are you doing? Oh, hold on a sec. They're rotating. Banthanor might just be able to catch Breach off guard. Revy peeking around. Playing an extreme game of Ring Around the Rosie. Revy sees him, gets the calls coming, but this spike will go down. I want to point out the HP, though. So low is both of these players, and there goes kbull. Clutch is practically needed from Brimmy.
I like that sound bait walking through the door, but you don't have as much time to work with as you would like. So you gotta work quickly. That prompts Banthanor to enter into the window, but that's right in Revy's line of sight. So they're gonna close out and put us into the position of map and series point.
The rounds are now doubled up with Cleveland State having not one, not two, but make it 3 ults to Cornell's none. This is where it might just all come to an end. The MEC Fall Clash co-champions might just be able to win this round out. Only 2 players on Cornell able to buy up fully. The rest are forced to push on with light shields. Here we got the showstopper looking to get aggressive. Do they shoot it in the right place? Doesn't look like they do. Phet is able to stay completely healed.
Banthanor, though, able to catch one from tiles all the way at the cubby of mid over on Catwalk. Entering into tree room as the rest of the team taking advantage of that opening. But Killjoy set up on A. That can be a scary predicament to be in. Lime taken out, though. Changes the flow of the map completely. That's a wide open B. Does Cornell have the read? It looks like their fade is going for the full run. They need that touchdown. They want that spike planted as soon as possible. But I like the wisdom of Cleveland to stick together. They're not going to try to retake one by one and enable those fights to come out as, you know, individual gunfights. They're going to work together with the utility that they have, and especially with the Sova Recon bolts, they've got to be leveraging everything in their pockets.
Sully lands the shot somehow through the smoke. Smoke v smoke. And it's Sully to come out on top. Attackers win this round. Fode the last one to fall. And Cornell keeps themselves afloat for a little bit longer, but they need to win 5 rounds in a row, and now the timeout comes. And I like this decision a lot.
Yeah, it's coming out of Lime and the rest of Cleveland. So they know that they're on the map point and the series point, so they want to close this out as fast as possible. They don't want to fall into that same cycle that, you know, Ohio Northern fell to, where eventually the map turned into an overtime.
Yeah,
they're not trying to repeat that mistake.
No, you cannot have another overtime right here. Not because you can't win it out, but like you don't want to get yourself into that rhythm of getting a huge lead. All right, guys, everything's fine. We don't have to try anymore. And this is a lot better than what ONU was doing. I mean, they tried to keep themselves afloat and they tried to keep winning these rounds, but they didn't ever prioritize a timeout to that, which is something I really like that CSU is doing. They call the timeout. They are thinking of strats. They are thinking of a long-term goal. If they lose this next round, that's fine. We have more, but don't rely on them. Don't keep pushing it off until it goes to OT. Get this over and done with as soon as possible. And that's exactly the plan. Is if you see the breach, they've got an op. Oh, never mind. Not anymore. He sold it. Revy had me fooled.
Yeah, definitely a thought. But I like what Revy is thinking, though. You know, you haven't really seen that come out yet. And I don't even think it was utilized on Cornell's jet either. It's something that I think a lot of collegiate players could take a bit more advantage of. Out come the paint shells in an attempt to get rid of the lockdown, which it is possible if you land it directly on top of the ultimate, but that's not going to be the case with this interaction. As we move forward, Phet wants to make their way right into the A site. That'll work. But space is being denied by Sully, who finds two, Marvel another. And that is going to be a swift end to the round.
What an ult. I really respect the ult play from the KJ, trying to bait out the rotate over to the B site. It was a fantastic idea. The plan was fantastic, but Cornell, the plan was right. The execution was perfect. But Cleveland saw it coming all the way through. They did not fall off. They stayed very timid. They were not playing reactionary. They had that KJ stay on the B or on the A site, not getting drawn off easily, and they were able to flawless round the last time.
Now, what I will say, though, is, of course, a congratulations to Cleveland for taking the series, but Banthanor, 6 first bloods on Brimstone of all agents, and 11 total kills. That's about half or more of their kills being first bloods, impact frags for the rest of the squadron. That is huge out of them. And so generally we see that the MVP of a map or a series kind of go to whoever's got the most average combat score or whoever we felt like was the most dynamic. But I really want to acknowledge what Banth was doing throughout the map and keeping and maintaining space while using the molly as well as that orbital strike to ensure that their team could get a little extra time, a little extra value out of every execute or hold that they had going on. So once again,
sure.
An amazing series and an amazing day of Valorant that isn't quite over yet, Tucker.
No, it's not. We're not done. Us two, me and him, are done. We are all done, but we have more Valorant coming up. Going to be brought to you by Captain Atsoka and Beautiful Crow. Make sure that you stick around for that. You better treat them nice. We'll know. So that's all for us. Make sure you check us out. Check me out. Check them out as well. Thank you all for watching, and we hope you enjoy the rest of your Valorant day.